So last year was the first year I owned this Ohio property. I couldn't wait to get planting. I didn't know what to think. So I started with a basic design, just soybeans pretty much across the board, right? So took this big 14-acre field, pulled up hunt stand. I decided to do screens around the perimeter to get me in and out of my tree stands, and just do ag beans and a little bit of eagle and a little bit of buck beans from Hancock, you know, in some of the rows. And it came up wonderful. I mean, it just came up beautiful, as you can see here. It was almost impossible to hunt. First of all, my screens failed. That was the number one problem. The deer ate them before they can get big, and they were of no benefit whatsoever. So I was basically, if I was going to my tree stand, you know, in the hunting season, I was blowing deer out left and right. So I was creating pressure on the field. In addition, on this 14-acre field, if you look to the west, that's the border to my neighbors. And I had no idea what kind of pressure to expect there. It turned out to be much higher than I anticipated. So a lot of pressure there. So that was the first thing I needed to address. The other problem was this field. This is my 6-acre kill plot that I'm standing next to right now. Tons of activity here. I mean, they really like this, more secluded. It's kind of tucked on a hill, surrounded by woods in all directions. It wasn't very big, and they loved this field. They hammered it more than any other field. The problem was that it was impossible to hunt. So the deer would come out anywhere they wanted. I thought they would travel the corridors. They never did that. Instead, they would walk right wherever they came out, wherever they wanted, and then they would just walk right down the middle of the field. So we needed to address, you know, a way to get a shot at these deer. I did see some good bucks here too. So what we did, taking the big field now, is I used hunt stand. I always use hunt stand for designing food plots, and hunt stand is just freaking killer for food plot design. I pulled up hunt stand, and I knew that the first thing I needed to do was create security buffer between me and my neighbor's border. I did that by planting Egyptian wheat on the west side, about maybe 10 or 15 feet, followed by 10 or 15 feet of hemp. Basically, I was just throwing down seed that was left over from last year. And then I did 30 rows of corn along the entire west border, west side of that food plot. That created, and it came up beautiful, by the way, and that created a big buffer between me and my neighbors to help with the security. The second thing is that because when I was blowing deer out, going back and forth because I had no screens, you know, I was creating pressure myself as well. And the only way I can handle that this year is by leaving that field alone. So I've decided not to hunt that field whatsoever. It's a beautiful field. It's where most of the activity is. I'm not going to hunt it. I'm going to rely on this field right next to it. So here in this 6-acre field, this is really primarily where I'm going to focus my attention. First thing I did was I needed to pull up hunt stand and design a living buffer, a funnel, all right? I did it with corn, with field corn, and soybeans up the middle. And you could see by this design, the deer will naturally follow the lines of that corn, which bring them slowly up that funnel into the interior, which is all soybeans, it's all Hancock buck beans. Every single deer that walks between that funnel is in range of me. So it's a 32-yard shot max from that blind to here. I also have screening to get me into the blind. It looks like a really good design, and I was able to take my hunt stand design and apply it directly using landscape flagging and also following along on the hunt stand app. And it just came up magnificent. It sounds harder than it is. It's actually quite easy. Hunt stand will show you where the lines are. You put your flags down. Once you sit on your tractor, or you have a farmer come in and do it for you, you just tell them, you know, anything to the right of those flags is corn, anything to the left is beans, and you can map it out and supervise or whatever. So it's fairly simple. It came up beautiful. One really cool thing I want to mention real briefly is that HuntStand added a new feature that you get your maps monthly now. So the satellite images are now updated monthly. It's just crazy good. And I was able to watch from my home after I planted in April. I was able to watch, you know, each month the food plots coming in and seeing my design come to life. It was just so neat. And for you Western guys that hunt elk and mule deer, you know, like I do, I can't even imagine having those updated monthly satellite photos to be able to see beetle kills and fire damage, and where areas of moisture and things like that. So that's just a great killer feature in HuntStand. Just wanted to mention that. So that's it. I mean, we didn't do anything in the interior of the property. We had planted perennials for diversity and nutrition. We left that alone this year. And then here on the southern end of the property, there's this little 2-acre food plot. That turned out to be my hottest plot last year. I could have killed 2 mature bucks there. I decided to pass them. They're here this year and they're way bigger. So I'm glad I did that. But anyways, listen, every year I'm gonna try something and I'm gonna have successes and failures. I'm pretty good about getting stuff to grow now. I don't really have too many failures on that. But the designs and the hunting stuff is much harder to predict, and you just kind of keep tweaking it. So don't give up, and don't listen to everybody on the internet. Everybody's got their own theories, and understand that trial and error is probably the best thing to learn from. So we hope you enjoyed this feature. We hope you enjoyed me sharing all my fails with you, and have a great hunting season. Thanks for visiting Bowsite.com, and good luck with your food plots.